that? You hear
Yeah,
it?
yeah.
It's the first
I do.
time a guest has ever heard my intro. It's great. It's great. It's great in my book.
Oh, this is dope.
It's like the intro to your favorite sitcom or something.
I like it. It's like reggae.
Yeah.
And please excuse me, I've always wanted to do this. Let's get ready to podcast! and that's that. All right, so hopefully I've got the scene looking good. This is what it looks like to the audience. Man, in the middle corner, we've got Andre Soukhamthath. Hope I didn't butcher that too bad. I've been preparing that all day long. And in the left corner, we've got Peter Huynh, the producer. Really excited to have you today with us, Andre.
Hey, thanks for having me, man. I'm super excited too.
Awesome. And let me, if you guys don't know who Andre is, you're about to. He is better known as the Asian sensation. I might ask you where that came from at a later date. And if my technical skills serve me, I did have you in the background here. Just wanted to play a little bit. Yes, this is. I don't know if you've watched your own fight.
I did.
Yeah, and the only one I was able to get was the Spanish channel on YouTube. So I don't know where else I can bootleg that fight from. Maybe you can tell us later on. But all right, so we're gonna get right into it. I don't know where. I just kind of Googled and did my best to kind of get to know you in preparation for this. And so I imagine that you've got some hardcore fans out there, and this might be the first time some people are getting to know Andre. So I'm going to give my best effort as to an intro, and then you can kind of go from there. Andre, the Asian sensation, Soukhamthath, is a UFC or former UFC bantamweight. Now, he's also the first CES MMA 135, that's the weight class champion.
Yeah.
And also the first Lao fighter to be signed by the UFC. And you're born in America, but you definitely identify as a Laotian also. And then I'll hand it off to you, man, however you want to introduce yourself to the crowd.
I think you did a great job, man. Most people know me as the Asian sensation.
All right.
My name is Andre, and your childhood friend, you know me as my Lao name Nitu.
Me too.
And I'm not just a fighter. I'm also a father, a dedicated father. That's what I do on a daily, and that's really all I do. I do my training and I do my daily stuff as a father. I pick up my kids, drop them off, pick them up from school every single day, and yeah, I like to do stuff with the community too. And I'm kind of a guy that likes to get his hands in everything. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like if there's an opportunity and I like it, then I'm gonna go after it.
All right. Well, I mean, let's just jump right into that. I mean, you bring up a opportunity, man. What can you elaborate that? Are we talking business, MMA opportunity? What are we talking here?
Yeah, man, it doesn't even have to involve money or anything,
Yeah.
just like opportunities like sorry, my cats I have two kittens and they're
Man,
like knocking
kittens.
over the stand.
I know how it is. I got three cats at home myself, man. But no real kids yet. No real kids yet. Not yet.
Yeah, so any opportunity, man. I like working with the community. I like working with kids. I like working with the Lao community, not just around me, not just in my hometown, but all over the world. All over the United States. I like to collaborate with a lot of Lao businesses and people, trying to make the world aware of the Lao culture. And you guys know the rest. I'm a fighter, and I'm a father, man.
You're a fighter and a father. And I was, I'm glad you brought it up. You make my job so much easier. That's something I did want to touch on today. I even had this cool little slideshow prepared. So maybe I'll just put it on, see if everyone can see that. And
Yeah, that
and
was like 2 years ago. Nice pick.
yeah, so what I wanted, so I'm very curious because and the next scene right here is just you kneeing somebody in the face, and
That's badass,
yeah,
dude. Oh man.
and this is how I come to know Andre is that like I met and if I can't shout out enough, big shout out to Asian Hustle Network on for just putting all of us together,
Oh, heck yeah.
and
Yeah.
I've already talked to I interviewed the founder and the co-founder in the last episode, Brian. But without the On Network, without what Brian and Maggie have done, none of us are here today. So thank the network for keeping us all together and doing what their mission is. But so I was introduced to you, you know, and that this is how I met you. I added you on Facebook. So initially, I'm looking at a guy kneeing someone else in the face, and then I'm looking at nice family man, you know, with his kids and his wife, and I'm like, okay, two really stark, contrasting images to know a guy and introduce him, like which is the real you. They're probably both you. And you talked about you're a father and a fighter, and that's one of the themes I wanted to touch on today is being a family man versus being a fighter. How do you do it? How does it all come together? And we're also going to talk about maybe more awareness in the Laotian culture, so we can get started
Sure.
wherever you want. You had already mentioned you identify as a fighter, as most people know you as, but maybe also as a father. And we can start there of how do you balance it all, man, and what are the hardships there?
Yeah, man, that's kind of what I live by. That's kind of what got me to where I am today and kind of what drives me to where I want to be at in the
Uh-huh.
future. It's a constant grind, and in my head, it's just family and fighting.
Uh-huh.
If I'm not focused on those two, then I will go crazy, man. Because like right now, I got this cast on. I
Yeah.
actually I fractured my wrist.
Wow.
It got worse after the fight, but it was actually
Wow.
fractured before the fight, and I didn't
Wow.
know it. I
What
didn't
the
know it. I felt some pain, and I just pushed through it, and it got really bad after the fight. I could barely hold my plate
mm,
to like do the dishes and stuff. So I
wow.
went to go get it checked out, and my doctor was like, "Yo, you got a fractured wrist." So like I haven't worked out for like 3 days. So
Wow.
I'm already going crazy because of that. But
Wow.
also I know that I wouldn't have as much drive and as much motivation to do what I do without my family, my wife, and my two kids. My wife has been with me since the get go, since I started training, since I started fighting,
Mm-hmm.
and she actually has a big part in my career
Mm-hmm.
and in my business because she has managed me for about 10 years.
Mm.
And she started off just getting me fights on the local scene, and
Mm.
then it gradually grew to sponsorship opportunities. And then obviously we got into the UFC
Mm-hmm.
and endorsements and stuff like that. So she does a great job, and she also does a great job with my PR, and
Mm-hmm.
that's how I am so involved in the community.
Mm.
It's not like me keeping all this organized. It's really her and her setting all this stuff up. So that's one thing about me. Why I'm so successful is because I have a good teammate, and that's my
Mm.
wife.
Mm.
And as for my children, yeah, man, my wife also has a full-time job, so that leaves me as
Mm.
as kind of like the daddy to handle all the stuff.
Mm. Yeah.
And I'm the one that wakes up, that brings them to school, that picks them up from school, and if mommy's at work and something happens at school, I'm the one that has to go to the school and handle the situation and
Oh.
stuff like that. And
Yeah.
it's all fun, man. It's a blast. I got two boys, Parker and Benson, and
Uh-huh.
they're growing every day. And they're my biggest motivation right now. They were actually the last thing I said before I went out in my last fight. I needed to win that last fight because if you guys
Yeah.
didn't know, I got signed to the UFC. Yes, I have 7 fights in the UFC, but I didn't do too well in the UFC. I lost a couple close fights, split decision losses, and I was 2-5 in the UFC. Still never been finished in my career, but a loss is a loss, and that's what
Yeah.
people remember.
Yeah.
So I was 0-2 going into this. this next fight, you know, my first fight out of the UFC, and I needed to win, man, to keep my career alive, you know. And the last thing I said before I walked out was, I'm a father and I can't let my boys down, and that really kept me focused and kept me in the present
Mm-hmm.
because I knew that I needed to get the job done. And you know, big thanks to my boys for just motivating me every
Yeah,
day.
yeah. How old are they now? I know you said that picture was a couple years old.
They're 4 and 8.
4 and
One's turning
8.
5 in January, so
Wow.
they're definitely a handful, a lot of energy.
It's awesome.
Man, I just wanted to say, man, thanks for giving us some insight into, the inner mind of a UFC fighter, and even being vulnerable, because I'm thinking here, if any of your competitors care enough, they would be researching you, trying to watch every video, trying to figure out how to get inside your mind. And you did actually talk about this in a different video you did, that, if you've lost mentally, then you've already lost the match. I know you touched on that. Could you talk about that some more, as far as,
Of
the
course, yeah.
confidence and then the mental battle that you prepare for?
It's happened to me before, you know. I've
Mm-hmm.
lost some of my biggest fights because I let my opponent get in my head.
Mm-hmm.
And my biggest problem as a fighter was I got too emotional,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and it was a long curve. I've been a pro for about 10 years now and I've been fighting for about 13. So I'm just now starting to learn how to control my emotions, believe it or not,
Mm-hmm.
and to just strictly think of it as business, you know. Um, I used to get so emotional out there. I win, I start crying. I lose, I get hit, I start biting down on my mouthpiece and wanting to hit the guy back, going into a war. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm just starting to figure out, you know, your mind is your strongest weapon, and as long
Mm-hmm.
as you put the work into it, you know, there's nothing that should ever stop you. So I know that if I woke up every morning and trained 4 or 5 hours a day, 2 times, 3 times a day for 6 days a week, did everything I was supposed to do. I ate right. I um I did all my wrestling, I did all my boxing, I sparred. And I should go in. I did that for 8 weeks, 6 weeks, 3 weeks, whatever. I know that I should be ready physically, and the only thing that would be stopping me is mentally. And if I know that I put in the work, then mentally I should be strong too, and I should be confident, you
Mm-hmm.
know. And sometimes what happens with fighters is like they feel good, they feel good, they feel good, and all of a sudden the fight's getting closer, then they start getting nervous, they start
Mm-hmm.
questioning themselves. Am I good enough? Did I do enough? Man, this guy's really good at this. This guy's really good at that. And then
So
fight night comes, and then they're nervous and they freeze under the lights. You know, that's never
Mm-hmm.
really happened to me, but I've gotten emotional, you know, in another way when it's like, man, this guy said something about my family.
Mm-hmm.
I gotta go out and knock him out, you know,
Yeah.
and just try going out there for the
Yeah,
knockout.
we've all
So
been there.
I'm
Yeah.
yeah,
I'm just learning right now how to control my mind and just
awesome.
look at it as strictly business, you know, and that's really it. It's so important that you keep a strong mind mentally, not just during the fight night, but during camp. Obviously, you know, you got to be something. You got to be a special athlete to be a fighter. You know, you go through a lot of pain, a lot of suffering, a lot
Mm-hmm.
of sacrifice, time away from your family, stuff like that, and you don't get paid as much as the other athletes, like in the NBA and NFL
Yep.
and baseball do, and
Yeah.
boxing does. You know, to be an MMA fighter, it takes a lot. Some guys they don't even make any money. You know, like they still have to work. I had I I had to work like another job
Mm-hmm.
up until
Crazy.
my fourth UFC fight, you know, and that's just me taking a risk. That's not even me living comfortable. That's me taking a risk,
Mm-hmm.
you know. So it's definitely a risk and definitely a gamble. But what's the most important thing about being a fighter and MMA fighter is that you have to love it. You know,
Mm-hmm.
you can't do it for the money because there's no money in it. You know, unless you're Conor McGregor and that 1-2%.
Yeah.
But if you're doing it for the money, you're in it for the wrong reason. You have to do it because you love it, and you have to do it because you have a passion for it, and you have to do it because you want to better yourself as a martial artist every day.
Mm-hmm.
And every day I'm learning that more and more. You know, now that I've been through the ups and the downs, the struggles, losing in the UFC, getting cut by the UFC, being a free agent, and not being able to find a fight for a year, 2 years, you know, everyone thinking I was washed up.
Yeah.
And I had to stay mentally in it. I had to stay
Yeah.
physically in it. And like we talked about opportunities, I stayed ready for the opportunity, you know, and I stayed training. I stayed eating healthy because I fight at 135. You know, I'm a big 135. I had to cut about 25 pounds
Yeah.
to make weight. So you can't do that in a week. You know, that's really tough. You got to do that within like 2 month span, you know, so you gotta make sure you eat the right way, you gotta make sure you're training the right way. And I did that even though I didn't have a fight. The opportunity came for me to fight, like we just showed them, like you just showed on the screen, and I was ready for it, and we got the job done. On to the next.
Wow. I mean, talk about analogies of connecting real life to fighting in terms of, being ready for your opportunity. I mean, like everything you just said, I'm like, that sounds like good business advice, right? Like you have to love it. You can't do it for the money. Same for fighting. Same for any business that some hustler
Absolutely.
wants to start, right? Everything you're saying, I feel like has a lot of pure life analogies. Literally staying ready for the opportunity, training so when the fight comes knocking, you're not all out of shape, right? I think I
Exactly.
remember you said in a different episode you only had how many weeks to get ready for it versus other fights where are scheduled you have months to prepare, something like that.
Absolutely. Yes. That's very true.
And educate me and the audience for maybe some from people that aren't hardcore MMA fans. What is the difference between the XFC versus the UFC, and not to go in depth because they can Google it if they want, but just to kind of get the audience up to speed on where you came from, where you're at now.
Well, obviously, you know, UFC, everybody, when you talk about the UFC, when you talk about MMA, they think
Mhm.
about the UFC.
Mhm.
The UFC is the biggest brand. It's like the NBA, the NFL of
Mhm.
mixed martial arts. You know,
Mhm.
that's where every fighter wants to be at. And when I first started training, that's where I wanted to be at. That was
Mhm.
a dream of mine, you know, and it's a big deal to get signed by the UFC. So, you know, I worked hard. I took over locally, I took over nationally, and I got signed by the UFC, the first Lao-American to be signed by the UFC,
Mhm.
the first pro athlete to, you know, coming out of my city to to be to be signed to anything, and it was a good time, you know, but I didn't do too well in the UFC, you know, and obviously, you know, people want to get to the UFC because that's the biggest promotion,
Mhm.
that's where the money's at, and blah blah blah. You get what I'm saying, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
That's where all the popularity is at, is where you can get famous, you know, the biggest platform, shall I say?
Yeah.
And I didn't do too well. You know, I was in the UFC for about 3 years, and I got cut after my last fight, broke
Mhm.
my hand
Mhm.
in the first round in China. So it was a tough one, but
Mhm.
finished the fight, and then you know I got cut a week after. They sent an email, sorry, we gotta let you go.
Mhm.
Maybe we'll have you back again. I said
Mhm.
okay.
Damn.
And then I was thinking, you know, I'm 32 years old now, and I've been there, done that. Do I still want to do this? You know, I was thinking, do I still want to do this? I can find another career that's easier, that has
Mhm.
more security.
Mhm.
And then I said, literally, nah, man. I still, I know that I was put on earth to do something bigger than this. So I kept grinding, and you know, chasing after these other promotions. You know, there's Bellator, there's ONE FC. Just
Mhm.
because they're not the UFC, they pay just as much, if not more, and they have the as big of a platform. You know what
Mhm.
I'm saying?
Yeah.
And reaching out to them, maybe thinking I was gonna get signed by them, but then COVID hits,
Mhm.
and then like everything just slowed down. You know, they weren't
Yeah.
interested in signing any fighters.
Yeah.
So I'm a free agent, and there's no fights. I had like 2 fights locally.
Mhm.
You know, because that's what you have to do if you want to get back to the top promotions. You have to, you know, kind of rebuild yourself, go
And
back
what's
locally.
local to you? Are we talking about Florida or Rhode Island? You've mentioned dropped a
Yeah,
couple
Rhode
cities.
Island,
Okay.
Florida. It,
Yeah.
it could just be like a smaller show, you know, not a
Gotcha. Yeah.
Bellator, not a
Yeah.
UFC. just like a smaller show, you know, you rack up a couple wins against tough guys,
Mm-hmm.
notable names, and then you'll get signed again. And I had 2 fights get canceled on me,
Yeah.
and
Wow.
it was a tough time, and I just stayed training, and then XFC comes along, and my wife and XFC, they got in contact, they did
Mm-hmm.
some business, and then boom, I'm I got some security. I signed a 3 fight deal with them.
Mm-hmm.
And what's neat about the XFC, what intrigued me most about the XFC is because they've been around for a long time, and
Mm-hmm.
they're just trying to make a big comeback.
Okay.
Um, you know, they were first like a feeder to the UFC, like, oh, this guy's
Oh,
doing
I
good
see.
in our league. We're gonna send him to the UFC. The UFC sees he's doing good in XFC, they're gonna sign him. Now they're trying to come back and
Yeah.
trying to be as big as the UFC, be as big as Bellator. And the way they're doing it is, you know, all these promotions, they kind of own you, man. Like you sign, they own
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
You know, they're private companies. The XFC is a public company. So what
What?
they do is
Okay.
you guys can buy shares into it if you wanted.
What?
You know,
Oh, okay.
they give the fighters a part of their shares. You know,
Wow.
so I'm basically a part owner of the XFC, and
Wow.
I thought that was really neat, and that's why I signed a 3 fight contract. They're doing some big things. They
Damn.
gave me some
Yeah.
ideas. They gave me a little bit of an idea of what they're doing. They wanted me to main event their first show, so you know business was good, and
Oh,
they know how to treat their fighters, man. Like from me signing the contract, never meeting them, to me being there in fight week at the hotel. I'll tell you what, it was ran just like as professional as the UFC, and
Yeah.
I think the production. I saw the fight, the production on NBC Sports. It was on NBC Sports, a big platform. That was a great production. So I really believe in the XFC. I believe that they
Mm-hmm.
can be competition to Bellator, ONE
Mm-hmm.
FC, UFC, those other big promotions, especially with being public to the stock market.
That's crazy. Thanks for
wow.
educating us in some things that I might be Googling right after this interview. Like, how do I invest in the XFC? Like, that's
Exactly.
awesome. What
Yeah,
a like brand new
Yeah.
you
business
should.
model. It sounds like the business model that was necessary for the industry. You know, like I don't know how it works out in the end, but that fighters that give their literal lives to this for however short or long their careers are, it's like that sounds like they're at least thinking ahead for you guys. Kind of like what the NFL should be like, right? Too is like give
At least
some, yeah,
I feel like at least they're giving us a chance. You know,
yeah,
with them trying to grow something, it's an opportunity to grow with them.
yeah,
So why not grow with them? You know,
yeah.
because they
Wow.
got the marketing, they got the good productions, they got NBC Sports, they got the biggest platforms. They're signing a bunch of
Wow.
big names, ex UFC fighters, ex Bellator fighters.
Yeah.
They have like a program for the young guns with just bringing up guys, developing guys, superstars of their own. So it's a cool little business model, and I'm down for it, man. I signed a 3 fight contract, and I know I don't like looking ahead too much. That was my problem before when I was 25 to
Mm-hmm.
30. I'm 32 now. There's not much time in the sport for me, so all I can do is just enjoy the present,
Mm-hmm.
and that's what I'm doing right now.
Well, I mean, was that the first fight that we showed earlier out of the three fights you just mentioned?
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
so we got two more. Well, I Peter and I are your two biggest new fans you've got, man. So,
Thanks, man. I
yeah,
appreciate
I'm
that.
going
Yeah, dude.
to if it took something to get me back into MMA, this was it. I'm a little bit older than you. I got 5 year or where you said you were 31 or 32.
32.
32. So I
You
got,
look good,
yeah,
man.
thank you, thank you. I
That's
got,
hard to believe.
we Asians, man. I'll be looking like this
Yeah,
when I'm 80 years old.
exactly. That's a good thing.
But no,
Maybe even younger.
I remember, man, when I first got into it, literally pay per view. I was 12 years old, and there was no internet, and you literally had to call
Yes.
and actually pay. Ain't no way to bootleg stream it back in the day. And I was begging my dad, like I want to watch this, can pay the $50, back in the day
Yeah.
where there was no way to bootleg it. Now if you really want to, you could tell your friend to, hey, film your screen so I can, there's
Exactly.
always a way to
That,
bootleg it
there's
now.
so many ways now. That's so funny.
But where does the next one on the schedule? How do we watch? If we want to, do we just follow your Instagram and you'll let us know?
Yeah, definitely. If you follow my Instagram, my Facebook, and I'll make sure I post up in on so that everyone can keep. If you're not already, if you want to follow my career,
Yeah,
I'll
yeah.
definitely fill you guys in. Thank you.
All right, man. Well, moving along, and we'll put all those links down in the description for the audience later. Your Instagram, on group, anything else you want to share with the audience. Now,
Thanks,
one
man.
thing, yeah, one thing treat me like a complete noob, which I kind of am. But what is the CES? That's you're affiliated with them. Give me the
Yeah,
history, how
yeah.
you're tied in.
CES is just like they're a big promotion. They have a huge platform. They also stream nationwide and worldwide
Mm-hmm.
on some in some countries, and that's kind of like a feeder to the UFC. That was a thank I got lucky because of such a good promotion. They were right
Mm-hmm.
there in my backyard. I'm from Rhode Island.
Mm-hmm.
I lived in Florida for 8 years now. Actually,
Okay.
8 year anniversary here today,
Wow.
and and yeah, just dialing the dream, man. Just packed up. I'm going to Florida. That's another story. But yeah, they were right in my backyard, and I have a lot of support back at home, man. Back in Rhode Island, I got a lot of support, not just the Lao community, but everybody, man. All nationalities. It's a small state in Rhode Island. It's a small state in America, so you can either be cool with everybody or you want to try to hide from everybody.
Mm.
I wasn't trying to hide from everybody. Anywhere I went, I knew everybody and
Mm.
was friendly with everybody, and there was a lot of love always, love and support. So they knew that I could sell tickets. They knew that I had a big fan base, and they instantly became interested in me. And then once again, I had my wife do business with them. I signed like a 4 fight contract with them when I
Mm.
first started, and I kind of just built my career off of CES.
Okay.
And
And
that's how the UFC knew about me. That's how they
okay.
found out about me because I was knocking everybody out in CES.
Wow. And so how does that work? Are you still affiliated, or is that the same kind of, do they compete with XFC, UFC, or how does that relationship work?
Yeah, I
Yeah.
would say they kind of compete with
Yeah. Gotcha. Okay.
XFC, but um, even though I'm not signed to CES, like I said, XFC is trying to go big, like
Gotcha.
trying to be one of those big top dogs, top name promotions. They don't want to just be a feeder. So
I see.
I'm always going to represent CES, man. I'm cool with the owner. I'm cool with the matchmakers. I'm cool with the whole staff, and they're Rhode Island, so they're always going to have me back. Whenever I'm back home and they have a show, they always got front row tickets waiting for me and my
Mm.
family.
Okay.
They always have opportunities for me for meet and greets, and
Gotcha.
if I have any charities that I'm running for, the Boys and Girls Club of my city or anything,
Mm-hmm.
they are the first one to be like, Andre, what can we do to help you?
Wow.
So I definitely just because I'm not signed to CES,
Yeah.
I still have a good relationship with them,
That's
and
great.
it's all love with them, me and them.
That's good.
And I'm
Yeah.
the first champion at 135, so that means a lot to
Nice.
me too.
Nice. I'm sure it means a lot to them as well to keep you on board in some fashion. That
Yeah.
that reminds me is that it took me a long time in my life, maybe well into my 30s, to realize not good to burn bridges, right? So just definitely want to keep
No.
all those relationships good if you can.
Yes.
Sounds like
For sure.
yeah,
For
sounds like
sure.
you at some point in your life you learned to really not burn bridges and keep those relationships good. Is that has that started a long time ago, or how did you learn that lesson, or it just came naturally to you?
I think it's just natural, man.
Yeah.
I wasn't, I come from an immigrant family,
Hmm.
just like I'm sure you guys do, and my parents worked hard every single day just to put food on the table, and I never went hungry one night
Wow.
just because they worked so hard, and that really motivated me and inspired me to work so hard at what I'm doing today, so that I can give my children even better life, and repay my parents. So like I wasn't given anything. I worked for everything I had, and if you helped me, if you were a part, if we did business together in any sort of way, I will always appreciate that. I always
Mm.
carry that in my heart, and I'll never forget it, man. If if someone bought like a ticket to go watch me fight one time, just one time, I appreciate you spending that $40 to go and
Mm,
watch me fight. You probably
mm.
worked 4 hours for that, and that's
It's
the
awesome.
type of person I am. And I think it rubs off on whoever I'm dealing business with or working with, and it just turns into a good relationship. Of
Mhm.
course, sometimes in business you'll disagree sometimes, but then we go to the burning bridges part. We always stay professional. That's it.
Yeah, you know what's interesting is, and I'm just gonna touch on this real quick. I have developed a pretty good relationship, I would say, with people that I may have started out adversarial with, and then because some kind of mutual respect, it might have to be the same analogy as, you fight some guy in the ring today and you're trying to kick the shit out of each other, but later on you guys do business together. Because I think the
Oh, for
fighters,
sure.
yeah, the
Yeah.
fighters have this kind of respect, and it always really warms my heart to see them kind of embrace each other after the fight, regardless of who knocked who out. There's always that mutual respect. Like, yeah, we just try to kill each other, but at the end of the day, that's what we do. And then after the last bell rings, it's like, no, we cool. We got that respect for each other. So, and you don't, and
Yes,
yeah,
I agree.
you might see it in baseball or in football. They greet each other afterwards, but it's something different seeing two MMA fighters do it, where
Oh,
that's
that's
right. That's literal
there's nothing
combat,
like it. Yeah.
right? Yeah, no,
That's
it's one of the most like touching things in sports that I could ever witness, and I want to mention something you said earlier.
appreciate that.
Yeah, like in what other job or sport or business does the guy, right, have to go out there and be like, I'm doing this and I have to win, for my son to put food on the table, and literally I might die when I go out here, and
That's absolutely true.
right,
Yeah.
like if we brought it that hard in our own business lives, imagine how many people would be succeeding if they brought that kind of intensity to what they do. Literally, like, I might die and I'm doing this to put food on the table and I can't lose. Think about it. Does the NFL or NBA player really walk out there with that? I wish, I wish Tom Brady, you'd like to think so, right? Like, we know you are, Andre, because you shared that with
Yeah.
us, and we know you have
They,
to. But if
they,
everybody,
you know
right?
what? They're such good athletes, and I think that they do have a mindset. I think they have a similar mindset to that. I'd like to believe that,
Yeah,
and if they were just doing it for money, the thing is they can afford to, you know what I
yeah,
mean?
yeah.
Because they get paid so well. Even the person that sits the bench the whole season, they still make millions of dollars.
That's what I'm saying, man.
Even half a million or half a
Yeah,
million's good,
yeah.
and if they lose a game, it's whatever. They can practice and then they go back and play next Sunday or tomorrow. For us, it's like
You don't have any
when you talk
teammates,
about
right? If you lose, you fucking lose. It's on you. I mean, you have a team,
for
right?
sure,
But it's not like you
yes.
can tap out and be like, "Oh man, I can't breathe. Step in there." It's
Well,
all
this is
you.
this this is kind of how it works. Like talking about business and
Yeah,
and pay structure.
yeah,
Most MMA fighters literally fight for a second check.
yeah.
So we get paid to make weight to make it to the fight. Boom, that's one check. And then you have to fight for that bonus. You have to fight for that other check. So say I'm
Mm,
getting $5
yeah.
to to make weight and sign the fight agreement. Okay, I get $5. But if I want to get another $5, I have to win that fight. You know what I'm saying?
That's
So that's even more. And if I lose that fight, I only have $5 and I could have broke my arm, right? And I'm not fighting again for another 6 months. So that's why I say most fighters have to work a full-time job or 2 or 3 part-time jobs, including me sometimes. And that might happen again. I don't know.
yeah.
I can't tell the future. I'm gonna work my ass off so that it doesn't. But I know the grind, man. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's just if you are thinking you're gonna get rich off of MMA, that's a great dream. That's a great goal to have. But make sure you love it. Make sure you have a passion for it too. Don't just think about the money. And that'd be my advice for it. Because for 10 years, man, I had to work 2 jobs. I had to be a bouncer and I had to work at the Boys and Girls Club, um, and a bouncer Thursday through Saturday, and the Boys and Girls Club Monday through Friday, just so that I can train and fight and pay my bills.
Mm.
I had to do that for 12 years. So it's definitely a grind, man. Hey,
Man, if if there's anything else that I hope you talk a lot of kids out of getting into the sport. Really, if anyone's talking to me,
No,
yeah,
no, I don't
no,
want to
no,
do
I'm
that.
serious. No, not in that like crushing their dreams, but I mean like when people like I'm a marketing guy. That's sales and marketing
Yeah.
has been my life. So if anyone comes to me asking about marketing, I try to talk them out of it first. I tell them the worst of the worst to make sure that, like you said earlier, your heart's in it and you're not in it for the money.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I feel like if I talk them out of it, I did my job. Because if they still want to be in it, make sure it's not about the money, the fame, the glory. You know?
Yeah, exactly. It's not about the money, the fame, the glory, and I don't want to make people seem like, being an MMA fighter is like this shit job. No, it's not. I love what I do. I'm very happy with what I
Mm-hmm.
do. I'm very happy with what I get compensated. I work hard for that, but it took me a while to get there. And some people are different. They might not take my road. And that's the
Yeah.
thing. Everyone has a different path. You might knock 3, 4 guys out in a row and you might get signed to the UFC. I've seen that too,
Mm.
I'm just telling you guys like my path and how, regular, like most of us MMA guys, you guys gonna like, if they're watching this, you guys can agree, like this is kind of like the road we had to take.
Yeah.
And it's different, man. Like I want to say, don't be a fighter. I would encourage everybody to do some kind of martial art, to do some kind of fitness, because you know what, it's such a good therapy. For me personally, I think that it's the best therapy out there, man. If you have some kind of anxiety, some kind of depression,
I'm
you're
gonna send
feeling
you
bad
guys a
about
new
yourself.
link too. If it shuts off, I'm gonna give you a new link to hop on because I have a time limit for I don't pay for Zoom, but
No problem, man.
yeah, no, I like that as far as therapy, right? No one thinks about it
Yeah,
as a
man.
form of therapy. And for our intermission, guys, I'm gonna play a quick clip, finish off the clip of Andre, and you guys will see him here in the background while we get our other issues figured out. So let me go ahead and...
descrito hasta el momento, va Soukhamthath al frente ahora. En el segundo demostró lo que tiene el arsenal, lo efectivo que puede ser, lo certero de su golpeo, pero ahora la respuesta por parte de Faría. Abajo pega Soukhamthath de nuevo con la misma pierna, en la misma zona, un calco que le ponía. Buena combinación ahora por intermedio de Faría, tiene que retroceder Soukhamthath. Ya vea Soukhamthath. Abajito de nuevo, ya van 4 en este asalto. Ahí a esa zona por parte de Soukhamthath sobre Faría.
When you love your skin naturally, it shows. Made with ethically sourced, natural origin ingredients. Introducing new Burt's Bees Truly Glowing Skincare.
Tienen poder ambos, pero parece que nos vamos a las tarjetas. Quedará en manos de los jueces decidir quién se lleva la victoria. Ya vea Faría, pega abajo también con esa pierna izquierda. Ahora la pierna derecha de parte de Soukhamthath, otra vez con el jab largo y preciso, como una daga, entra el cuerpo de Faría.
Y ahí ese golpe no se puede dar, sobre todo
no pueden
con un
estirar los
piquete
dedos.
de ojos, sí.
No se pueden
Prácticamente
estirar
con
los dedos.
la palma de la mano lo conectaba.
40 segundos, va a terminar esto. Hay que cerrar bien para llenar el ojo de los jueces. Le fintea a Soukhamthath, 35 segundos, buscaba con el front kick. Va bajito Faría. Otra vez el jab y el Superman punch de nuevo, Renato.
All right, thanks for hanging out during the intermission, everybody. We got our 2 guests back. And we'll wait for us to get the view back. I'm sitting here just enjoying the rest of this fight here. And if the audience wants to finish watching this fight, we'll shoot a link to the YouTube video. And that is how we hustle through. Not paying for Zoom, okay?
Hey, I ain't mad at it. That's what I'm talking about.
There's a 40-minute time limit for group Zooms, which I found out recently, and and you just restart the meeting. Make the audience sit through a 2-minute intermission because I'm too lazy to edit my videos. I just like to upload them when they're done. But I love
Like your style.
yeah, I love how you ended before our intermission with martial arts being a form of therapy, because as we all know, it trains your discipline, but I never heard it put like that, to where, hey, this might be good for some bipolar kid to just release his whatever. And talk more about that, man. Is this something you thought about a lot?
It's something that I live by. When I was at the lowest point of my life, when I faced a life tragedy, and I felt like, man, how can I get back from this? The first thing I wanted, I didn't want to, but I kind of forced myself there, and I know how training makes me feel. Even before I fell into that loophole, I knew how it made me feel. So I knew that I needed to get back to the gym and train, and not just train and work out, but learn and observe and absorb all this knowledge. There's so much knowledge in mixed martial arts that you can learn. So this was like, I was 18, man. I was 18, 19. This is 11 years ago, 12 years ago. So it just saved my life, man. I could have gone down a deep, dark hole, turned to other things, but instead I decided to go to the gym. I loved how it made me feel. And even till today, I feel like I need to do some kind of exercise to just function properly. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
in the morning, I got to do some kind of exercise so that my day goes well. It's kind of like a meditation for me, man. And I'm sure, I'm sure if you guys work out, you guys might feel the same way. When you guys were just something about it sucks when you're doing it. It sucks waking up and tying up your shoes and like, oh man, I gotta go run this 3 miles. But when you're doing it, when you start doing it, oh, I feel like a beast. I feel great. And then when you're done, you're just like, man, I feel great. And there's a lot of satisfaction in that.
Yeah.
Peter,
like the rush of endorphins.
Peter, I just want to mention,
absolutely.
Peter's a very humble guy. He won't jump in and tell you guys this, so I'll go ahead and brag for Peter.
Please tell me about Peter.
Peter had just finished a 100-mile
no way
bike ride, just like nothing. Like, I'm like, hey Peter, what's up, man? He goes, oh, I just finished 100. And I'm like, what do you mean you just finished 100? And he was like, 100-mile bike ride. So
that's
Peter,
amazing, bro.
I imagine you have to put yourself in that meditative state, that he was just talking about.
So definitely, dude. On these rides, right? Like, you're suffering. Like, I'm not the most fit. I don't eat the most healthiest.
Nah, don't say that. Don't say that. Don't say that. You still got it done, bro. I couldn't do it. I'm not,
Thanks, man.
Not as good as you, I'm sure.
No. Hey, you should, man. If you come out here, we should ride sometime. It's really good for your mind too. Like,
I know who to call for advice.
Yeah, dude, definitely. Do you have any coaches, by the way? Like a bike
riding coach?
No, like a mental coach, or like a person, like they can help you, like.
Yeah, I just surround myself around a lot of good people that been there, and I have a lot of good people on my team, and when I feel like I need to talk about something like that, I could turn to one of my real coaches, my coaches, or my wife, or one of my good mentors, but like, as for like a mental coach, I don't have one of those. No.
I feel like, Peter brings up a good point. I was actually thinking about that because you were actually kind of touching right around that area earlier, Andre, when you were like, I was trying to figure out how to come back and get my mind right, because I play poker, and I'm recently aware that there's this niche of like life coaches for poker players that they help really high performing poker players get through their like the mental space, and it's coaching them beyond the game. Like, these mental coaches don't know anything about poker, but they know the mindset of a high performer, right? They may have kind of like hit a plateau or just kind of need that slump. So I'm wondering, is there even
That's great.
Yeah, is there even a thing like that for professional fighters? You know, you've got
for sure.
you've got different coaches. You got your strength coach, your actual, whatever style you fight in, jiu-jitsu or whatever, those kind of coaches. But are there like life coaches, mental coaches that kind of help people in your position who are fighters?
Yeah, if you're
Yeah.
looking for one, for sure. You know,
Yeah.
you can definitely find one, and there's a lot of good ones. There's a lot of
Okay.
fighters, a lot of my teammates that have mental coaches, you
Gotcha.
know.
So it is a thing. All right.
Definitely, for sure.
Yeah.
But it's just for me, you know,
Yeah.
it's like I just don't. I would try it, you know, but I don't feel that comfortable doing it right now because I've been through so much. Like, I could swear in this podcast.
What was that?
Can I swear in this podcast?
I don't care. Yeah, of course.
I,
Anything.
I've been through like so much shit in my
Yeah,
life
yeah.
and in my career that for me to be here still, it's
Yeah.
like all I tell myself is like when I start feeling bad for myself is like, yo, stop being a bitch.
Yeah.
Just do it. You know, and with that comes me, you know, people might say I inspire a lot of people. I'm really motivating people, but I look to others for that. I will go on like David Goggins' IG, or I'll look at my teammates one of my teammates who is fighting for the belt next week, or who's training for a training camp for the belt. You know, like I train with so many high level guys. I'm around that every single day. So I just tell myself like, listen, you're with these guys for a reason. If you're why you a bitch, you don't deserve to be here. Prove it to everybody that you need to be. I just talk to myself and listen. If that doesn't work, if I'm really, really feeling it and I'm really like being a bitch, then my wife calls me out.
Yeah.
And this is dead serious.
Yeah.
My wife calls me out. She's like, what the hell are you doing?
Yeah.
Go train. Go do this. Go do. And then that's when I'm like, all right, do I really want to do this or do I not? I do want to do this. And then boom, once I get going for a long time, you know, and then I don't get into that mind state. It'll take a lot for me to get into that mind state. You know what I'm saying? So, yeah, I don't know if you've seen any of my fights, but I show my warrior spirit. I'm very, it's kind of like my life, you know, with that's why I like to go by, like, you know, there's no greatness without struggle. You know, if one doesn't struggle, how can they be great?
Wow.
Because, not just in fighting, but in life in general, you know? So I felt like, you know, I've struggled quite a bit in my life, and everybody has their own little struggles in life that they have to overcome every day, you know? And once you overcome that's the first step, man. And then you just got to practice on just coming out on top. You get knocked down, it's okay. Are you going to quit? No. If I get punched in the face, I'm getting choked out. Am I going to quit? No, I don't. And in my fights, I don't. I show that resilience, you know, and I think that's why I'm a fan favorite.
Yeah.
Because like you can literally see, if you really know me, you can literally see like my life while I'm fighting, when I'm losing, especially. I'm getting beat up. I'm getting choked out. I have one hand. I'm fighting with one hand, but I'm not gonna give up, man. You literally have to kill me in there, you know, and that's just my mindset every single time.
Wow. I've heard you say that before, like you're gonna have to kill me, otherwise I'm gonna keep getting up, man. And talk about just connecting life with what you do back to life, like literally fighting with one hand. You went into the last fight with a fractured hand and a wrist, and it's just like, yeah, like I'm going to I was smiling earlier because, you know, you're talking about needing, you know, motivation in your life, but I'm going to clip that, like, don't be a bitch, just do it. And I'm going to have that on repeat. And when I need something, don't be a bitch, just do it. I'm going to literally clip that, loop it, and put it on YouTube. And when I feeling like a bitch or feeling lazy or unmotivated, just going to play that clip. I'm going to, if you don't mind me sharing that, I'm going to promote that one. That is.
I'd be honored.
Yeah, man, that is, I was smiling because after you went on that long monologue, I was like, that's all I wanted to do was just cut that clip and play it over to myself. Like, don't be a bitch, man. You know, there's so much more people suffering worse than you, have hardships worse than you. Why would I sit here and feel sorry about my situation, right? Like, I'm healthy, you know, hopefully that stays that way forever or as long as I can stay healthy. But some people don't have their arms and their legs and aren't able to go out and do the things. So like, why am I sitting here feeling sorry about my situation? I love that. And now maybe we can flow into some random ass questions before I run out of time. That I really wanted to ask you is Andrew Yang follows you on Twitter.
Yeah,
That must be pretty cool. Why don't you tell us about that story?
Awesome. If I find out someone's an Andrew Yang fan, that's like my number one go-to.
Yeah, I mean,
You
if we're
know,
Asian,
me and
how
Andrew
can we
Yang, we
not be?
speak
Yeah.
sometime, you know?
Wow.
And then they're like, oh my God, really? Oh, I love Andrew Yang. Yeah, so honestly, man, like, so I guess I always knew that who he was, what he was trying to do. I heard him on the Joe Rogan podcast. But like when he was running for president, when he was a candidate running for president, he shouted me out on the Luke Thomas show. I don't know if you guys know who Luke Thomas is.
I'm not familiar.
He's like a sports analyst and a combat sports analyst. He's pretty big in MMA, and he was on the Luke Thomas show because he knows Andrew Yang is a huge fight fan, and he was asking him questions like, "Who's your favorite fighter?"
Wow.
And Andrew Yang, this is before we connected, and Andrew Yang was like, you know, I like Wonder Boy. I did Taekwondo. Wonder Boy is a great Taekwondo fighter, karate fighter. And then he said, but I gotta go with the Asian sensation.
Oh, what?
Andre Soukhamthath. And he kind of giggled after, like laughed after that. And he was just like, listen, the Asian sensation, I gotta support him because I guess I was born in Providence, Rhode Island, born and raised in Providence, Rhode Island. He went to school at Brown University, which is in Providence, Rhode Island.
Okay.
So I guess he probably, you know, did his homework on me.
He knows you from the local fame.
And knowing that we have something in common, you know what I'm saying? Like we know the same city, and he likes my fighting style, and he was just saying, you know, he's a kid from Providence, and you know, Providence is rough, you know, it's just hardworking people, just like I talked about my parents, you know, that's how almost every family is, and he just became a fan, and then literally someone tagged me in that post. That clip, and I was just like, oh shit.
Right.
So right away I had to reach out to him, and yeah, now I feel like anytime I reach out to him, he always responds.
Wow. Awesome.
Whether I win or lose a fight, he always messages me after, DMs me, and says, you know, hey, tough luck, Andre. I remember one time I was feeling real, like I lost a fight. He was like, hey, you'll get him next time, Andre. And that really lifted up my spirits, and when I do win, he congratulates me. So I'm very, very blessed, very honored to be friends with Andrew Yang.
Yeah, man. And about, you know, so he only came into our awareness like when you know, he might have been the next president, right? And I assume that's about when your relationship might have started, because he wasn't like a thing on the national stage until then.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, that's pretty awesome, man. And do you have any inside track as to what he's doing now, what he's up to? Because after he fell off the national spotlight, I follow him on Twitter still. That's how I even knew that he followed you. I'm like, whoa, Andrew Yang. So what's going on with Mr. Yang these days, and how do we get involved if we want to?
He's always doing good things for the community, you know. But I actually think he's running for state senate in New York.
Oh wow.
I think that's what he's trying to do right now, and I think that he'd be a great fit, man, and hopefully get some experience and run again, because I think that I'm in the Yang gang, baby, and I know you guys are too. So
man, I was trying to ask him, his camp, if they could send me a free hat, because I was broke at the time. Hell, I'm still broke. I was like, if you guys send it to me, I'll wear it when I live stream and everything. But yeah, cool, man, Yang gang for sure. And man, if you can get back up there after losing, man, of course he can. You know, he's not getting punched in the face. Of
course, for
maybe
sure.
metaphorically, yeah. But
I'm sure he deals with a lot more worse headaches than I do, though. Even after I get punched.
I don't know. I mean, talk about headaches, okay? You're literally the man of this that can speak on headaches, okay? I mean, politicians, right? Like even if you lose the presidential race, I don't think that's as bad as, getting your head knocked around in the ring, man, for real.
Probably worse.
Yeah, probably worse. Yeah.
It's probably worse controlling them.
Yeah, dude. Politics is nasty, man.
A lot of respect to Andrew Yang and his team, man. They did a great job, and they'll always have my support.
Of course. Okay, so you actually kind of I had some random ass questions which you actually might have touched on and answered earlier, but I still want to ask you about the weight. You had said, okay, you fight at 135, okay, and you had even mentioned you gotta cut 25 pounds. So I'm doing the math. So you walk around at about what is this, like 170-ish? And I heard you mention on John Coe's show, which was in the middle of COVID, that you kind of found it hard to go back and forth with COVID and all. And I wanted to ask from a fitness perspective, right, just as a human perspective, like, fighters have to deal with this, but what about now during COVID, having to, fight at that weight, and then you walk around closer to 170? That's closer to my weight. I'm like, wow, like this guy fights at 135, but he walks around weighing as much as like, wow.
I walk at 160.
Okay.
I walk at 160. So.
Yeah. I did the math wrong. That's 135 plus 25. It's 160. I give up my Asian card. I'm sorry. I turn in my Asian card. Can't even
don't do
that.
Math. We need you. We need you.
You're right. It's
You're doing a good job.
160.
Yeah, it's so my cuts are usually, they're never easy, but I do the work leading up to it that I don't make it as hard, But I'll tell you a story. When I made my UFC debut, I only had I got the call 9 days before the fight.
Wow.
To fight in Las Vegas. This was 2017. So I was weighing 160.
Wow.
So I had 9 days to get to 136.
Are you
136.
kidding me?
And I did it.
Jesus Christ.
But it was very hard.
Yeah.
And I just don't want to ever feel like that again, because it was really hard, man. I could barely walk. And what you do when you cut weight is, obviously you have to watch your calories. And usually when you have a fight, you'll know at least 5 weeks out. That should be enough time to get down, to at least lose 10, 15 pounds, right? So I only had 9 days. So what you have to do is, obviously you have to cut the calories, and you have to kind of, that week of the fight, you have to kind of wash all your salt. You have to water load. So what's water load? You have to drink like 2 gallons a day for like 3 days, 4 days, And what happens is one day, and then the day before the weigh-ins, you don't drink at all. So what happens is you flush your body. All that water is flushing out all that sodium. It's flushing out all those calories, all that extra excess fat that you don't need. It's just flushing it out, because what does salt do? Salt holds all that. Salt holds water. Salt holds fat. So I basically have no salt in my body, and you dehydrate yourself, But you have, to make it easier, you have to start at a lower weight. I was starting at 160. So that was really hard. I had to go in the sauna for hours. I had to go in something called the salt bath. Epsom salt and alcohol with hot water in the tub. And you literally have to go in there just like a sauna, 20 minutes, get out, take a break, 20 minutes, get out, take a break, 20 minutes, get out, take a break. And it's hot on your body, hot on your skin. It pulls everything out of your body, and you dehydrate yourself, and it's not healthy. I wouldn't recommend anyone doing it, but it was my UFC debut, so I had to do it.
Yeah.
And ever since then, I told myself, unless it's the last minute fight again, I'm not gonna make it hard for me. So if I know I have 5 weeks until my fight, 6 weeks till my fight, I'm dieting. I'm eating the right way, what I'm supposed to eat, So that makes it easier.
Dang, I'm just impressed. Most people couldn't lose 10 pounds in their lifetime. You're doing this on the regular, on a year-round basis.
That one time definitely tested me mentally. If any time tested me physically, like that would make or break a lot of people.
And that can't leave you in the best fighting position either, in terms of
I I felt I got tired a lot during that fight. You know, it was a good fight. I lost split decision. That was one of my split decision losses.
Yeah.
But no regrets. No regrets, man.
Yeah,
It was my
yeah.
UFC debut. It was my dream, and I did it. I went out there. You know, I could say woulda, coulda, shoulda, did something
Yeah,
different, and I
of
know I
course.
could have did different to win the fight to make
Yeah.
that UFC debut even better, even more pleasurable. But guess what? I'm doing good right now, and I feel like I was telling you guys before, I'm just getting started. So all those experiences, all those
Yeah.
downfalls is only going to make me better. You know what I mean?
Definitely.
So
And speaking of that, man, because this is all easier said than done, right? Do this, do that, cut weight. Everyone can say, "Yeah, I know how to do it." But to actually do that, you know, and I want to quote you from a previous interview I saw. You said a fighter is born with it in terms of the characteristics and even maybe how you were brought up. And can you talk about that a little bit, like talent versus hard work, a little bit of both? What do you mean when you say born with a fighter's heart?
I feel like not, you know, even all the fighters today, like even the people fighting, they don't all have heart.
Mm-hmm.
They might have talent, they might be in shape, but they don't always have heart, man.
Mm-hmm.
Like if you watch some fights, you see some fighters quit. You see some fighters when it starts getting hard, when it starts getting difficult,
Mm-hmm.
they put their hands up and they put their back on the cage.
Wow.
You know, because they're tired. Some fighters are tired, and you see some quit. You know, and that's kind of what I meant by you know, certain fighters are born with it. Like certain fighters have that, like I don't give a fuck attitude.
Yeah.
You can take me right now. I'll go to sleep right now in front of millions of people watching. I don't care. Take my soul. If you're gonna beat me, this is my mindset. Like, and only certain people are like that. Like, if you're gonna beat me, you gotta really beat me. But you're gonna get hurt too. And if I can't hurt you, if you're really that good, if you're really that talented, then you're gonna try your best to put me out. And you know, I really take pride in that. I know it's probably not a good thing to take pride in, but I've never been finished in 23 of my professional fights. And if you add my amateur record, 52 of my fights, I've never been finished. You know, I've always seen the last bell if I lost my fight. So that's what I meant by, like, you know, not all fighters are born with that heart, with that fighting spirit, with that warrior spirit. They're not all born with it. Yes, some might have talent. Yes, some might be great fighters. But to have that grit, not everybody's born with that grit.
Thanks for sharing,
You know?
man. Because there's certain bits and pieces that popped out from your interview. You guys switch places. That's all right.
Yeah.
Still looks fine.
Is it good? Sorry.
Yeah, no, it looks good. That's fine. We'll leave it how it is.
Yeah.
So okay, well, going back and forth, because that man, it really kind of that's like some serious things. I might have to rewatch this episode because it's like that means a lot. I'm sure it would mean a lot to a lot of people just to kind of process that.
It does, yeah.
And like, if you're not born with it, it's like maybe you've been through something to make you like that. You know what I'm saying? To make you, give you that resilience.
Definitely.
You've been through something in your life when you feel like nothing's gonna knock you down and you're just gonna keep fighting till the end. You know, some people go through a lot of bad things, and I'm one of those people. I've been through some things, and like, it's like I've been through worse. So you can't take my soul. You know.
And in talking about that, man, I don't know if this is something you wanted to touch on, but I had made a note of how do you deal with the haters, and do you just kind of shut it off, or was there a process of when you came to fame, and then how you dealt with it before and how you deal with it now?
Man, you know what? To tell you the truth, when I got first signed to the UFC, I had a loyal fan base. You know, a good 5,000 followers. You know, and then once my popularity grew, there's 20,000, there's 10,000, 20,000, 30,000. You know, and then I slowly realized throughout my UFC career that not everyone following me is a fan. Not everyone following me is following me to like me. You know, some people following you to to put you down, to
Wow.
watch you fall.
Wow.
You know, and I used to get a lot of hate, you know, a lot of hate, and I used to pay attention to it, and it used to bother me. But not anymore. You know, that's like another one of those lessons that we talk about, like you know, one of those struggles that we have to go through to become great. And that's definitely one of the areas where I'm glad that I don't pay attention to any of that anymore, you know, because I used to, and it used to bother me, and it used to bother my performance. It used to bother me, life at home with my kids.
Yeah.
Like, why are these people not like me? Like, whoa, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And no, I shouldn't have to please anybody. They're not paying my bills. I'm paying my bills, me and my wife, and I'm doing what I love. So if you don't like me, there's a problem with you.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I love that, dude.
Well, thanks for sharing, man. I feel like that's an important lesson for anyone in any business, and because it's like you're inevitably going to get one, depending on how famous or not famous you are. And so I think it's an important lesson to kind of get out there and at least make people aware of it, that everyone may or may not deal with that bullying at some point in their life, but I hope everyone can at least relate to that. The bigger you are as a celebrity, the more you're going to get it. So at some point you have to deal with it or let it get to you mentally. So thanks for sharing.
There's, in my situation and in every situation, I guarantee it, there's more love than hate. So just remember that.
Oh, I love that.
Don't let one comment, don't let two comments bring you down from 10 people saying I love you, you know?
And as we're nearing the hour, I always would like to just say, how did we make an hour? I'm an introvert. I don't really make small talk with people. So I'm always amazed that we even and I feel like, there's 10 hours left, but well, God, like I'm glad that we were able to fill an hour even with the intermission. But so I have my like closing questions to kind of wrap things up. The ones I really wanted to get to in case we ran out of time. You're still like right in the middle of your MMA career, so don't want you to lose focus. But for the crowd, what are some side hustles or professional goals you may or may not have outside of fighting per se?
I was always, one of my jobs during fighting was I was always a trainer.
Okay.
So I really have a passion for helping people. So even now I would, have some clients or teach some classes, teach some seminars, and give people some fitness advice,
Okay,
So
cool. All right.
when I'm done fighting, I could definitely see myself doing something like that. Maybe even having my own place one day, just a nice little fitness studio with MMA, helping people, just relieve, like I talked about before, just go into the gym, and I tell my clients, my classes, like, hey, when you're here, I don't want anything else in your mind. I just want you to enjoy your workout. I want you to learn your new techniques. And if you're working on a certain technique, I want you to focus 100% on that. I want you to sweat. I want you to burn some calories, and I want you to walk out feeling brand new, and I really love helping people in that way. Also, I wouldn't mind doing some more entertainment. I've been taking some acting classes. Sorry, one of my earpods fell out. I've been taking some acting classes, some speech classes. I started doing some speeches. Like I did some speeches in my hometown. I had a couple lined up until COVID hit, but I know that they still want to book me. So, I would love to just speak and tell people my story in person, and just try to, get the word out there, tell people my story, and try to inspire people to just follow your dreams no matter what it is. As long as you love it, do it.
Well, no homo here. Not that there's anything wrong with being gay, but you're a really good looking dude. I wouldn't be surprised if you have like a modeling career or an acting career.
Thank you, man. I appreciate that.
Yeah, you got the good look for it. Yeah,
Appreciate
man.
that.
Like you just
you guys are stellar too, man. Come on, you being humble.
Well, I'm locked down too, so I ain't trying to do anything in that realm. But no, people have told me I look like Bruce Lee, so I'm like, I will totally take some Bruce Lee.
Yeah, take that.
No speaking though, because I'm not a trained actor, but I can hold the poses for the camera, no problem.
That's awesome, man. You'll pass.
So I wanna also, Peter had this question for you before the podcast, and I wanted to ask it if we didn't have or if we had enough time. I mean, you told us a million reasons why, but what makes you different? And I didn't give you this question before because I want to hear your honest answer, no preparation. What makes you different as a fighter, as a father, as a human being? What is the quality that makes you different?
I think what makes me different, it could be a weakness, it could be a strength, but I don't care. It's who I am. I'm a very caring person. I have a lot of compassion. I like to help people, and I'm honest. And I don't ever want any free things or handouts. I always want to work for everything that I have. Like, say someone's trying to offer me something, but they want, like, I don't know. You see it all the time. I'm not gonna go out there and make myself a hoe for anything.
Yeah.
I'm always gonna keep it real.
Gotcha.
and fight for what I believe in, and always stay true to me.
I love it. And to quote something you said from a different episode, and to leave the audience with something, I want to touch on this. You said that, and let me know if this is still true, is you want to be remembered as somebody who inspired in terms of being a good role model. And so if you have just, one sentence or something you want to leave with the audience or the future generation, maybe to your sons who might grow up and watch this episode, what inspiring piece of information do you want to leave the audience?
I just like to say, like, hard work is undeniable, man. Like, if you're going to do something and you're going to keep doing it, you put your reps in, you stay consistent with it, it's going to be undeniable, the outcome. You're either going to reach your goal, or you're going to become a master of what you're aiming to be. So hard work is undeniable. And if you face some struggles, we'll go back to that struggling and being great. That there's no greatness without struggle. So, just have that in your mind. Like, just keep working hard every day. It's undeniable, because even if you do reach a wall, if you do fall, guess what? That the greats fell. So you get over that. You beat that struggle and go for being great again.
Love it. And with that, hard work is undeniable. Thank you, Andre. Thank you, Peter, for being on the podcast here too. And,
thanks, guys.
We'll see you guys next time.
Yes.